Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I've never done one of these before.
Well, that was the first time. All right, so hello everyone. Hi, Sydney. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is our first IG Founders Live Chat of 2022. So again, Sydney, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and to have a conversation with us. So just a little bit of context for our audience. So joining us today is Sydney Terry, who is the co-founder and chief marketing officer at Bino Books. And just to introduce myself, my name is Warta. I am the community and events coordinator at Volition. And so, the purpose of these Founders Live Chat is to really introduce yourself and your work to our community and to see how we can support you, in reaching your goals. And so just to start, I'm going to give a little bit more context about how we met you. So we met Sydney last year, I believe, where she pitched at one of our Amplify Live Pitch events on May 26th and won top pitch for Bino Books. Congratulations for that. It's been very exciting to see your progress following this. And just to give a little summary about what Bino Books is, so it started as a concept where it was offering personalized ebooks to help parents explain the concept of pandemic to their young children, and in turn included hard to explain topics in a child appropriate and engaging way, right? All right, so again, Sydney, we're very excited to learn more about you and learn more about Bino Books. And that being said, if you're ready, we can get started with it.
Sure, I'm ready.
Awesome. All right, so Sydney, just to start us off, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself? So what do you do? What does Bino Books do? What is Bino Books all about?
Yeah, so I'm Sydney. I'm 23.
Oh, we can't hear you properly.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Sydney. I'm 23. I'm in Toronto, Canada. Most of my team is in Ontario. And yeah, I'm the chief marketing officer of Bino Books, so I'm kind of on the side that the community sees. My team consists of 2 to 3 other people at any given time. We have the original co-founders, which are Jess and Danielle. Jess is chief technology officer and Danielle is our CEO. Jess's younger sister, Sammy, also works on the marketing side of Bino Books. So yeah, should I jump right into the origin story?
So we can get into that right after. So if you could just give a little summary of what Bino Books is all about first.
Yeah, so Bino Books, as Barsha said, was kind of created because of the pandemic. So we all came together and wrote a first book on how to explain COVID-19. And when we were thinking about how to branch out, we went back to like all the conversations we had with parents, and they all said there were so many topics that they kind of wanted a little nudge and help explaining to their children. So we've based our company purely on those topics that you don't see in mainstream storybooks currently.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And so it is such a unique and very interesting concept, actually, to think of how we can incorporate like a way to have those conversations with young children. And I think it's not something that you hear around. Most of the times those hard to explain topics, for instance, the pandemic, are things that we tend to sugarcoat in a way or keep children away from it. But oftentimes we don't think of what impact that might have on these children and in turn on them as an adult. For instance, just take the pandemic as an example. We thought that would be something that would last 2 weeks or at most a month. But we're now going into over 2 years, and we can all see the impact that it has on us as adults and there's a lot of conversation about what impact it has on adults, but now to have the conversation about how it impacts children as well, and so to explain those to children, I think it's very important. So, thank you for actually doing that and putting it into place to make the conversation easier. So that being said, Sydney, what I'm curious to know is how exactly did this concept of Bino Books all come together? Uh, it was a concept that was focused on pandemic, but then what was the initial conversation that really sparked that idea? So essentially, what is the origin story of Bino Books?
Yeah, for sure. So a group of us met at university, and we applied through our university has an innovation center, so kind of like an incubator.
Okay.
In the summer of 2020, we were like, let's apply to this program. And the program was pretty much to get more youth involved in entrepreneurship. And they would help you with a little seed money. And you can create some sort of business, but the catch was the business has to help anyone that's affected by the pandemic in any way. So we immediately looked around us, and we have a lot of family friends who have children, and we consulted with them, and they said, we're really having a hard time. Like, how do we explain this in a way that's, scientific and accurate, and but it's not completely frightening. So we started with parents, and that's how we got our first sort of push to do that original children's book. And then after we sent it out to parents, they were like, we really like this idea. Would you consider doing a topic on this or on this? Like, these are some other things that we'd be interested in. We're like, this is a great idea. So we pivoted, and we are just doing hard to explain topics in general. And we're always looking for new ideas if anyone has any.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, definitely. I really like how you took the experience of people around you, your family and friends, and just put it into this one big concept that would help so many other people. Maybe you did not expect it to help other people as much. So thank you again for that. I just keep being impressed by the idea. So that being said, you mentioned, making it child appropriate and more engaging for children to understand. So I am assuming that, illustrations play a big role in that, and so what I'm curious to know is, how did you come around in terms of, the designs and illustrations and how to, make it appropriate for children? Did you bring in illustrators or graphic designers on your team? If you could just walk us through that, please.
Yeah, so a bit of a challenge with our books that differs from the traditional storybook is we are completely customizable to the child it's going to. So we had to find an illustrator that kind of understood that and drew. So the first children's book our team illustrated, it was very rough. It was being sent to a limited amount of people. We did our best with it. And then the second book, we brought in an illustrator. So we had an overwhelming amount of applicants who applied to our job for an illustrator. And we went with a lovely artist called Devika. And Devika understood our idea about it being customizable. So the way it was drawn is all in layers. So we have different layers for different hairstyles, different layers for skin tone, different layers for favorite color, hair color, like a bunch of things. And we're hoping to expand to make them fully accessible in the future, so parents can kind of request what they'd like to see in their personalized book. And then we've also hired graphic designers, and we've worked with George Brown College to secure some interns who helped on the marketing side of it. So also graphic designers for our Instagram and our Facebook and our TikTok.
Oh, that's incredible. It kind of seems that, you opened the opportunity to other fellow entrepreneurs in a way. And, that's where you see that idea of entrepreneurs helping entrepreneurs
Yeah.
going on, which is incredible. You know, this is where companies like Volition comes into play, where we're here to support entrepreneurs and to see that fellow entrepreneurs are doing the same and getting into that same vision of helping each other out, especially in a time where, you know, it is difficult and challenging to survive with all the uncertainties. It is amazing to see. So thank you so much for sharing. Um, we do have one question from the audience, which is, what age range does the book target?
Yeah, so our books are currently targeting around the 2 to 5 year age range, or the like pre-K to grade 2 reading level.
Thank you. All right, Sydney. So just to keep on with our conversation, we talked about, you know, what Bino Books is all about, what has been, what you have been working on so far, and, you know, how you brought about, you know, the team for illustrations just to bring that idea into something like a concrete project in a way. So that being said, you know, you're an entrepreneur yourself, and you've mentioned that you've been working with other entrepreneurs. And so just seeing their experience and also you as well, I would be interested to know what your experience has been as an entrepreneur for the past year.
Yeah, so I'm definitely like new to entrepreneurship. I never was a business minded person. So it's been very interesting in this past year, like seeing how my mindset has shifted, especially being a small business. I've definitely, seen myself going for the more local small business types because I know what they've been through. Um, but also hyping up other entrepreneurs. We've met so many through different programs, and we love seeing what they're doing and promoting them in any way we can. And we felt that back from most of them.
Awesome. And, you know, just thinking of your experience for the past year as an entrepreneur, do you have any lessons learned that you would like to share with us, or even any tips that you would like to share with fellow entrepreneurs, for instance?
I think I've been very lucky to have a team behind me. So I think a lesson learned is, rely on your team, let them know what you need. If you need time off, Bino Books for us is like a huge thing we want to work on in the future, but we are all like pursuing other things. So that's been really tough in the past year, juggling it all. But I think, like I said before, just reaching out to other small businesses, other entrepreneurs, has been super helpful. Getting like some of the like just promotions and seeing what they're doing powers us to move on. So that's definitely something.
Mm-hmm. And for any individual that, you know, might have potential ideas for a business, but maybe they don't have the resources or action plan, you know, as someone who has started a business along with a team, yes, but you started a business during a pandemic, do you have any tips that you would like to share as to how they can get started?
Yeah, I would say definitely market yourself as soon as possible. Um, everyone's so entrenched in social media, and that's such a powerful tool that we've used. But I would also say, like, look within your community, find some incubators or any like, idea-based businesses, and just, get out there and pursue it if it's what you want to do. 'Cause it's been so rewarding.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing. That's really helpful. And, you know, I think like if we just think of it, a lot of people have really good ideas, but again, like I mentioned, they don't have the resources, or they just don't know what the next step is after having the idea. And so your advice on, you know, marketing themselves and really getting into that community and seeing how their community can help them, it's very helpful and encouraging as well. Um, so that being said, I would like to change the conversation a little bit, because we've been talking about what Bino Books has been working on, but now let's just talk about the achievement of Bino Books. And I believe congratulations are in order. Um, congratulations on reaching your goal for your Kickstarter. Kudos to you and your team.
Thank
Would you
you.
like to share a bit more about this with us?
Sure. So in the beginning of December, we launched a Kickstarter. It was a huge shout out to Danielle and Jess, my co-founders. They really spearheaded all of it, and put together all the reward tiers and sourced all the rewards. But yeah, it's been amazing to see just like how many people, whether we know them or we don't know them, have just donated or backed us. It's been really awesome. And it, that's the type of stuff that makes you feel like you do have an idea. There's definitely been moments where we've doubted ourselves, but reaching that goal was incredible. So that money is going to go towards the launch of our first book, our first official book that's, professionally illustrated. Yeah, so we're super excited for that. And if you want to check out our Kickstarter, even just reading through all of our mission statements and all of our future goals, that's super helpful for us. And it can kind of show you what we're all about at a deeper level.
Thank you. Would you be willing to share a little bit more about the Kickstarter? So what exactly is it?
Yeah, so Kickstarter is a platform where you can kind of put a product out there and you're asking for money towards that product. So ours was our product was the customizable inclusive children's book on body image and body positivity. Our goal was $5,000 and our Kickstarter was all or nothing. So we didn't reach the goal of $5,000. We didn't get any of the money. So it was, pretty awesome to reach that goal and get access to those funds. They've really helped us out. And our Kickstarter campaign was 30 days.
Wow, that's impressive. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
So it already seems that Bino Books and your team, you have been working towards achieving your goals, but then not just stopping there, but moving to the next goal and the next step. And so that being said, what I'm curious to know is, what is your vision for Bino Books?
I think our full vision is to have a library of books that parents can access. And we want to be the go-to solution for parents who are like, oh, I'd really like to start talking about this thing, or I'd like to have a conversation about this hard topic. We'd like our company to be there for parents and not tell them how to explain the topic, but just as a conversation starter. And we're hoping that we can eventually become a subscription service where parents can access how many ever books they want on like a monthly basis and continually have new releases. And yeah.
Awesome. I'm very excited to see how that goes, and we hope that you get all the support that you need. And so with that being said, how can we as a community support you in reaching that goal?
Yeah, so as a community, we're really asking people to look through our Kickstarter. You're going to see the whole game plan we have laid out, what we're planning to do with the future of Bino Books. And then in late February, we are releasing our first book called Humans Can't Fly, But They Can, and it's all about body positivity and body image. And if there's any parents who want to start talking about that with their child, check out our book. You can customize it exactly how you want it for whoever it's going to. So that's our big ask.
Awesome. So just to reiterate for our audience, if you would like to support Bino Books, make sure to check out their Kickstarter. And, again, within their mission is to really have those hard to explain topics being started, like having the conversation started with children, to help parents to have those conversations with their children. And so through that Kickstarter, it's really a way to get those conversations started. And so if you'd like to support them, check out the Kickstarter, but as well, stay tuned for their first official book coming out in late February, as Sydney mentioned. You could also check them out on all social media platforms. So Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Hello Bino Books. and also their website, which, correct me if I'm wrong, it is binobooks.square.site. Is that
Yep.
it?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. This has been such a great conversation, Sydney. I've learned so much, and again, just to think of how you brought together those ideas and conversations that you had with fellow parents and people around you, and you and your team brought that together and created this big project of how you can move forward and get those conversations started. This is something that a lot of parents that I know struggle with. I have friends and neighbors who have young children who, struggle in having those kinds of conversations because, again, we don't know how to approach that in a child appropriate way. And so, just to make that easier for them and to get those conversations started, you know, with the long term goal of actually helping those children understand things better. And when they grow up, they have those in mind. It's so incredible. I love the concept. I love the project. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. It has been a pleasure to talk to you. Now, before we end our founders chat, Sydney, we usually like to ask this one last question. And the purpose of this question is basically just to encourage people to think about what makes them happy, in difficult times like these, like what we are in right now, we often take it for granted what things we can afford to make us happy, or we often just don't think about things that make us happy, right? We're just thinking about what we need to do to survive. And so the question is, what is one thing that currently brings you joy?
I think one thing that currently brings me joy is staying close with my friends virtually. Has been really important for me, and like getting that social connection. So whether it's just a meeting or just playing games online, that's one thing that brings me joy right now.
Awesome. Yeah. Trying to stay connected virtually has been the way
Yeah,
lately.
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah. So again, Sydney, thank you so much for taking the time today to join us to have this 30-minute chat with us, sharing more about yourself, about your team, about what Bino Books does, how it all started, and what you have achieved so far. Um, it's been very interesting to understand how it all started and what it's become now. Just to summarize, like it started from focusing on the pandemic to now being a like selection of various hard to explain topics. And again, it is a very unique concept that you and your team have. Um, so good luck with everything. And again, for our audience, if you would like to support Bino Books and their team, again, please make sure to check out their Kickstarter, as well as to stay tuned for their first official book coming out soon. And with that, thank you so much for joining us, everyone, for this live chat. And Sydney, again, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.